So
Uh,
let's talk.
this new album, you've got the artwork
Yeah.
behind you. This new album, Belly of the Beast. It's it's dark, it's brooding. What inspired you to make such a record? And would you describe it as a concept album?
Well, I think I'll adjust the second half first as a concept album. It's not so much a concept, but it's cohesive.
Okay.
I've been asked that before because there is some sort of thematic subject matter running through it, but it's cohesive. But it's not Dark Side of the Moon or anything.
Yeah.
It's not like that. But it's of one mind, I suppose. So it's going to be a bit cohesive like that and come out. But what inspired me really is art is a reflection of life, and it's a mirror really. And this was what was happening at the time. It's still happening. I think a true artist has to, since throughout history, a true artists have represented society and all the accoutrements within it, what's happening either politically, economically, artistically, etc. And that's really what happened. It just was so overwhelming that it certainly wasn't the hearts and flowers. These were very dark days, and as they started to progress and I started to write the album, the themes that came to me were just either very personal, inside themes, like Dark Night of the Soul, which is an extremely intimate, personal subject matter for me, about my heart attack a couple of years ago,
Right.
and and then right to the B system,
Right.
which has really started to rear its ugly head, and manifest itself, and it's only actually gotten worse. So that's really what it was. I was just reflecting society, reflecting the world around me.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
I could be wrong here, but would you describe this album on some level as being a meditation on totalitarianism? And is Rise Up a call to arms?
Yes, it is. Rise Up is absolutely a call to arms.
Mhm.
It's a wake me, shake me type of song where fists pumping in the air. It's a protest song. It's uh, the words say it all. I really didn't try to be cryptic lyrically. A lot
Mhm.
of guys are very cryptic. I listen to some new stuff and nobody's really coming out and saying it.
Yeah.
And I felt that somebody needs to say it. Really had to be done. Rock and roll, especially Barry, is has always been an outlaw, a renegade. We're anti-establishment,
Yeah.
and I don't see any of that happening today.
No.
Everybody's really jumping on a corporate situation and trying to toe the line and be compliant, and it just doesn't have that same fervor. I was a kid of the '60s.
Yeah.
I grew up. I went to Woodstock, the original Woodstock. I mean,
Right. You were there.
I was there. I was like 17, but still, I
Okay.
was there, and the
Yeah.
music was happening. And it was all about peace and love and revolution and free sale. All this stuff.
Yeah.
And rock and roll kind of just sort of went into a tunnel now where very few artists, if they are artists, are saying anything. And I didn't want to be one of those at all. I started to realize I took a big break between doing any real solo albums until Belly of the Beast. I did a few projects like 2 songs with Michael Schenker, one with Ariane, and so on and so forth. Wrote some songs for other people. But as far as something of my own, I really wanted to do something artistic, something meaningful. And there's nothing more meaningful than just trying to bring out the truth.
Right.
And that's what I'm about. I'm about peace. I'm about truth. Um, I think a lot of it had to do because of my own personal experiences. Uh, 4 years ago, having a heart attack, I had that dark night of the soul. I had an epiphany of what does your life mean? What's your purpose? What have you done? Could you dig deeper? Can you be better? Can you bring more to the world? What can you do? Are you doing enough?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, I could make another love song album, you know, type of rock album. But what's the point? It has to have some meat. And this was was the way to go artistically for me. I
Yeah.
just needed to do something very desperately. I looked around me and everything was there. It was all there.
Absolutely. I read an interesting quote. Billy Joel was at Woodstock. He said it was 3 days of BO and acid.
That's very true. By the way, he's one of the funniest guys I've ever worked with. Honestly, he's
You did
fantastic.
because you supported him, didn't you, when you were Fandango?
No, I was on the Stormfront album. Mick Jones was producing them from Foreigner,
Yes.
and
Oh,
I
yeah.
had known Mick, and it's a long story, but I had known Mick from auditioning for Foreigner and all this stuff. And then I sang on Mick's album, and then he was doing the Billy album, and he just said, "Why don't you come down?" And we did like 2 videos, big David Letterman show,
Yeah.
a few other things. But Billy was fantastic as a person, as an artist. I just can't say enough good about him. And now a couple of my old bandmates are his band from Madison Square Garden, where he plays a show every month and sells it out for life.
Yeah, yeah, it's my dream to go
Anyway,
to Billy Joel at Madison Square Gardens. I'd love that for that to happen.
amazing guy.
Yeah. In your opinion, is God really on vacation?
Seems to be. I mean, I think it's a poignant phrase. The fact that a lot of people have lost God, quote unquote, whatever
Yeah.
God is to you. For me, it's very spiritual. So yeah, I look around and I don't see much God. I think everybody's acting like. You see, let me back up a bit. It's called de facto Satanism. What de facto Satanism is basically is about I, me, mine. Everybody's for themselves first. It's really a form of Satanism. It's not some guy with horns and a long red tail. That's not Satan. Satan is an attitude. Satan is a selfish, self-serving, self-fulfilling attitude. And I find that there's so much greed and that type of behavior that, yeah, maybe God is on vacation, because it's either that or he's just looking at us saying, what have I done? And we really need to go back to those days. I grew up, I'm not saying it has to be religious, but we've lost spirituality.
Yeah.
And I think that's the important thing. Religions are an invention of man. So I'm not, I was brought up a Catholic. I served the Mass. I learned Latin for 7 years. I was an attempted molestation by a priest, which made me go on a soul search.
Yeah.
In fact, one of my songs on my solo album, Joe Lynn Turner album, is Rescue, is Soul Searcher. And I started to go on a spiritual quest. What's it all about? What's it all mean? What's the purpose? Sort of a Monty Python. What is the meaning of life? In a real way. And I think he hasn't abandoned us. It's just that nobody's looking for him. Nobody's putting someone else first. It's always about them first.
Yeah.
If you look at the TikToks and you look at what's happening with the trans situation and all of this, I mean, it's like, the world's gone wild. I mean, no wonder there's war and there's, I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, look at the state we're in.
I must admit, I look around me. I'm only in my 50s, and I don't recognize the world that I grew up in seems to have gone. I don't know what we have now.
Exactly. You don't recognize it. You don't recognize it. You walk on the streets and like they're actually accepting this type of stuff, where boys are girls, girls are boys. At 3 years old, you're letting a child make up his mind what he wants to be. Whoa. Toxic masculinity. The divine feminist, thing. It's absurd.
Yeah.
What happened to the values of mother and father? You've got kids, you understand.
Yeah.
I mean, so have I. And we have responsibilities as people, as human beings, and it seems to have gone out the window. These people who are now trying to say you can abort even after the baby's out of the womb.
Yeah.
You can actually. I believe it was a majority of Democrats in the United States Congress that just voted for that bill. That's okay. If it comes out and it's not all dismembered, you can actually kill the baby. That's murder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's simply murder. What the hell is going on? I think God is on vacation. Yeah,
yeah. Do you feel as an artist you have a responsibility to make an album like this?
absolutely. That's my whole point. If you're an artist, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to yourself, to the gifts that you've been given.
Yeah,
You know, you have a responsibility to all the people who's ever bought a ticket, a record, or anything. You know, my mother said something, God rest her soul, years ago. She said, you know, Joseph, I might have had you and you're my son, but you belong to the world.
uh-huh.
And I was a little too young to understand the depth of that. But as
Yeah,
I got older, I totally get it. You really do belong to the world if you're going to take on this. I mean, in any situation,
yeah,
we really owe each other as human beings, humanity. We owe each other the responsibility. You know, instead of this moral degeneration type things. I mean, it's unconscionable.
yeah,
So I took this album very seriously in many ways. You know, if you look at the titles, even "Living the Dream," I'm taking a shot at being a rock star, you know, or something like that. Because it's like, is this really it? You
yeah,
know, is this really what you wanted? Because it's not all that it's jacked up to be. You know, it's a huge weight on any responsible artist. Otherwise, you're just a, shall we say, a copyist, or you're an entertainer. Fine, we need that too. You don't have to say anything but dribble, you
yeah,
know. But if you're an artist, you've got to put your neck out
yeah,
and do something morally responsible for the world,
yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
Otherwise, how do you live with yourself?
Sure. I'd like to go back a little bit. I'm interested in the Odyssey album. I'm just wondering, how do you look back on that time and working with Imve?
I had a great time. I mean, look, you know, English difficult, blah blah blah, you know. But I've had practice with Blackmore, so I was pretty well trained at that point
Yeah,
with difficult guitar players, and um, and I thought we both excelled on that album. I
yeah,
really think that's a very strong piece of work. The songs are fabulous, performances are amazing. I love it. And I look back on it fondly. Yes, we had our differences, but sometimes out of the fire comes steel.
yeah,
And this is something that ignites each other, because there were really good times, and yes, there were some very heated times.
yeah,
But c'est la vie, you know. I hold no grudge. I don't have time for any hate or anything in my life. You know, I think Ingve's a very gifted individual, and I'm glad to have worked with him.
yeah. It's a remarkable album. When you first started in Rainbow, is it true that Rich used to put a lot of pressure on you not to be so theatrical in your performances, to be
Well,
more hard
well,
edged?
well, yeah. You know, I was originally a guitar player, singer in Fandango. I played lead guitar, and with another with another guitarist named Ricky Blakemore.
Okay.
Think about that synchronicity.
Yeah.
That's pretty strange. Okay. And you know, so when you take the guitar off, your hands get really big. You
Yeah.
know, you don't know what to do with yourself because you're now in front of a mic. So you have to sort of learn your performance and everything. And Richie was actually a big help in that.
Yeah.
I have to admit, yeah, I credit him for that. I give him a lot of respect. You know, and being an American, uh, he calls it cabareting. You know, but being an American, I was all out to entertain more, sort of halfway between David Lee Roth and you know, something. But I wasn't that stalwart, you know, doom and gloom type of singer. You know,
Yeah.
and but I learned a lot
Yeah.
through that.
Um, I'm interested in the song Death Alley Driver. Would you describe it as a metaphor for the rock and roll lifestyle?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Death Alley was a highway that I used to travel down. It's actually called Route 1 and 9 in New Jersey.
Okay.
It's a truck route, And a friend of mine and I used to travel this route in order to pick up drugs like cocaine and things,
Okay.
seriously. And we were very young, but still. And this this highway was always very nefarious because it was very seedy, prostitutes and motels all along the way, and burger joints, and very seedy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was just thinking, I used to call it Death Alley. I used to call it Death Alley. It was crazy. Yeah, we got to go take that route again. So when I was coming up with the lyrics for this, I figured it's the epitome of a rock star's life.
Yeah.
White lines, and the whole bit, the stop signs, and all that, and the alliteration to fast living,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And the video, I was the one who actually came up with the video and said, Richard, you're in a black car, you're deaf, you're chasing me on the bike, and the whole bit.
Yeah.
And it did very well for us. Still think it's a great song.
But didn't that video, maybe it wasn't that video, but didn't that video win an award or something?
Yeah, I think it did. I think that one did.
Because a lot of your
But
videos you weren't actually in, were you? Rainbow weren't actually in a lot of their videos.
well, we were in the video, but in the graveyard scene and things like that. Yeah, we were. I mean, we were, but we didn't like to do videos, and yet videos were necessary at the time. We didn't care about awards. We didn't care about videos. We just
You
wanted
probably
to go
always
out
on the
and
road.
play, right? Yeah, we were never ones we were always for the fans. The fans liked it, but it's the same attitude Blackmore has with the Hall of Fame. Yeah, he could care less. He really could care less. He was never one give me a gold record or anything like that. It didn't matter to him.
Yeah.
He would always say it's all about the music. It's just about the music. That's all that counts. And,
I was reading
right.
I was reading Martin Popoff's book, and he says Richie Blackmore was a big ABBA fan, and you actually, as a band, you met ABBA.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering
He's
how did that go down? Was there any jamming?
Oh no, it was basically in a club drinking and things, but it wasn't a studio or anything. But yeah, he was a huge ABBA fan, and it shocked me really because I would be like, you're kidding, Dancing Queen, all those songs, and he goes, I love melody.
Yeah.
And he really does. Richie, at least when I was in the band, he loved the songs. He wanted to play for the songs, he liked the structure of the songs. The lyrics were important. Street of Dreams, things like that, really affected him very deeply. When we would come up with things like that, and we took a lot of flack for being commercial.
Yeah.
But as Jimi Hendrix said, there's no crime in having your song played in the jukebox. Just means you're popular. So we were puppy. We were popular, and we got on the charts. We sold more records, and we played more arenas, and we did what we were supposed to do. That's what I was hired for, to bring that melodic. And that's the same thing with Mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Hired to bring him into a song because he's a great player, but no songs.
Yeah. I read actually that as a part of Fandango, you actually supported the Beach Boys. Is that right?
Oh yeah, we were.
I wonder if you have any interesting Brian anecdotes.
Well, they didn't hang around with us or anything. They were kind of like friendly, but right back to the dressing rooms, into the limos, that type of thing. Because Fandango would be the eternal opening act. We were. We did the Outlaws, the Allman Brothers. We played the Cowboy Circuit. We called it. We were, and then we got to Chicago Fest, which is a 3-day festival, and our equipment, $80,000. Back in that day, it was a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but back then now it would be 3-4 times as much. Yeah. And all of our stuff got stolen from the truck. They took the whole truck. These thieves. And also, by the way, I believe Billy Joel's equipment was stolen, and Jethro Tull's equipment was stolen.
You supported Jethro Tull?
Well, we were on the same stage. It was a festival. We would open up in broad daylight, and the rest, as the festival progressed, of course, the bigger bands would come on.
Absolutely huge Jethro Tull fan. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I was too. I was just a big fan.
I mean, as a supporting act to these bigger acts, I mean, did you learn a lot from them as a performer?
Yeah, well, the whole experience, you see, you cut your teeth on all that, and the whole experience, all those experiences really start to shape you. You watch them on stage, you see what they do, you understand the songwriting angles that they have, you analyze everything. So I'd have to say the sum total of its parts, that's how you become who you are,
Yeah,
just living life experience like that. Absolutely.
sure. Roger Glover said Bent Out of Shape is Rainbow's best sounding album, and Martin Popoff describes it as elegantly gloomy. To what extent do you agree?
Martin. I don't know about gloomy, but and I think maybe Roger's coming from a producer's point of view.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because it
yeah,
was
yeah.
well produced. It's a very well produced album as far as it sounds. We were at Sweet Silence in Copenhagen, and we had done uh, most of most of Straight Between the Lines there, but we also went up to Morin Heights. So the first album, yeah, but I think he means production wise. Now, perhaps Martin is talking about song material. I don't know,
Can't Let You Go.
but
That
I
was
don't.
quite a gloomy video, wasn't it? That's off that
Yeah,
album.
I don't know. Stranded, Street of Dreams, Gloomy. It's really odd. I love Martin. I know him forever, but at the same time, he's a critic, and you know what critics are.
Yeah, yeah,
they, they're you know, I never understood it as gloomy. I
yeah.
didn't think we had a gloomy period. You
No,
know, it's
but
got some fun stuff on it.
yeah, I mean,
That,
but I think he was pointing out you guys are into some pretty dark stuff at the time, especially when that album came out. He feels that's reflected in the video. Can't Let Me Go. That's off that album, isn't it?
well, yeah, I mean, look, we did dabble in certain occultisms and things like that. That's no secret, with Richie and stuff. But we all learned our lesson with that, and
Sure.
we're coming with a higher power there.
Yeah.
If there's black, there's white. If there's up,
Yeah.
there's down. If there's, spiritually speaking, you've got both antitheses, and they both are powerful. And that's exactly what's happening in the world. This
Yeah. It
earth
brings us
is
back to the
control
belly of
is
the
can
beast.
actually that's right. This earth is controlled, actually. This is Satan's playground. This is more the devil's workshop right here. You
Yeah.
know, this isn't this is sort of a prison planet we're on. And I
Yeah.
think the lessons that we're supposed to learn to gain that higher spirituality and evolution of soul, of consciousness, is where we're at.
But
So it's a rough go right now.
yeah, I mean, wasn't there a séance or something with Jimmy Page? I'm just wondering how
Yes.
did that go?
Frightening as usual, a little bit of poltergeist
Wow.
flying,
Wow.
off the books off the shelves and things like that.
That must have been
The
quite
Ouija
sobering.
board. Yeah, we used to stay in the castles,
Right.
in the Schlosses in Germany. Richie would insist. We'd be on the tour bus, very funny, and our road manager, Colin Hart, would say, right then, who wants to go stay in, say, the Holiday Inn, running water and running blondes and brunettes, and this and that. And then the castle. And Richie'd look at me and go, you're in the castle. And I'd go, all right, I'm in the castle. And I'd have a candle going up these stone steps to my room, And we used to do seances in these castles. And one night, we were sitting out drinking till about 3, 4 in the morning. And in the vestibule down below, we must have been on the third or fourth floor, and there was a piano. And the night watchman was telling stories, and all of a sudden the piano started to play.
Wow.
Seriously. And the night watchman said that a manager, had died of a heart attack at that piano.
Right.
So we started to go, okay, So we were playing with it in and out, but at the same time, it's frightening because you don't realize that the power that the dark side has.
Yeah.
It really has just in fact just as much, if not more, power right now because you're invoking it, and that's what's happening here right now. That's the belly of the beast. We're invoking these dark powers, and now we're in a fix. Now we're in the belly of the system. and the system is trying to take us over and control us. And
Yeah.
this is a very desperate time for humanity, and we may not pull out of it this time. It's happened before throughout history, but humanity's always come through.
Yeah.
But right now, I think a lot of people in this world have gotten too comfortable. They're too comfortable, and they're not awake enough to realize slowly that, you know, the story of the boiled frog,
Yeah.
where they put the frog in the water and it's
You
cool,
don't realize the
and
water's boiling.
then they turn up the heat more and more, and day by day until it's boiled. That's
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's us.
I'm curious, actually, you know, with the Deep Purple reunion of '85, and was Rainbow shut down to facilitate that reunion?
Um, I'm not sure what you mean by that. Shut
Well,
down.
well, I'm just wondering whether or not
You?
they wanted Blackmore back for the Purple reunion, and they
Oh
kind
yeah.
of, was it
I
engineered in any way you know to
absolutely. I knew about it. I knew
okay.
exactly what. In fact, I was one of the. I felt very proud that I was bringing back the Mach 4. You know, bringing them back
Yeah, yeah,
with Gillan, because I had no compunction. I was off to a solo album. You know, I was like, fine, I'm fine with it. Um, no problem at all. So I was very aware of it. Absolutely. I knew the deal with BMG had happened, and, you know, and I was basically told that this was going down. And I said, I'm not going to stand in your way, you know. And I think Ian Pace was very kind about it, because he wrote, I think it was in Fireworks magazine. I've actually saved the clip where he said, you know, without Joe was kind of like the middleman, the guy that held it together. Because without Joe doing that record, Richie would have been off someplace, and we would have never actually been able to get back together with Gillan to do, you know, Perfect Strangers and so on and so forth. And I was very proud of that, because that was actually the truth. That's the truth. And I had a great time with Perfect, and I still think we have a very good record with Slaves and Masters.
yeah,
Very good record.
absolutely. You know, I remember the Rainbow reunion. I think it was about 2015.
Yeah.
As a fan, I envisaged a kind of a setup where you would be involved, where Graham Bonnet would be involved. Do you not feel it was what we ended up with? Do you not feel it was a missed opportunity?
Yeah, you know, my comments have already come out with that, and uh, you know, some people, I think most people agree with me, but at the same time, I'm not looking for agreement. I'm just looking. My opinion is that it was a letdown, because the legacy is very important. At least it was to me, and it is to me. You know,
Yeah,
we worked very hard in those days to keep up our side of the rainbow. You know, Rainbow had 3 or 4 incarnations, and like Purple's had 20 or 25 incarnations.
yeah,
But we were very proud of it, and I think by, you know, I use the word cheap imitation, and I have to say that's what I said, because it just wasn't there. You know, it just
yeah,
wasn't there. We were a great band. Listen to any live videos or tapes. Band was kicking. It was really good.
yeah,
And, you know, to me, a reunion is not a reunion. Richie was the only real member that was
yeah,
left.
yeah,
You know, it was kind of just Blackmore's Night meets Richie Blackmore playing Purple Rainbow songs. You
yeah.
know, with a. I mean, I don't know. I was let down by it, and I think most of the fans were. I think they went to the songs, of course.
Yeah.
The songs were great, but I don't think the performances were all that great. So no.
No, I saw the show in London, and I came away thinking it lacked something. It lacked certain. I didn't.
Life,
It was okay to
life.
see Richie there with the electric guitar, but it just didn't feel particularly great, to be honest with you.
No, it wasn't Rainbow.
No,
That's not who. That's not who we were. Go
no,
back and look at Straight Between the Eyes in San Antonio, or any of the videos that we did live.
yeah,
Kicking. I mean, kicking. He was
yeah,
on top of his game, Blackmore, on top of his game, because
yeah,
we pushed each other. We really did. You know, we every night we'd go out there and we'd push each other. Smoking drummer, you know, everybody, Don Airy or Dave Rosenthal or whatever, killer players. and we brought it home. Every night our performances were spot on.
Yeah.
Very rarely did we even have a little bit of an off night because we were so excited about what we were doing with the musicians we were playing with and the songs that we had to perform.
Yeah.
So, it didn't have the life that it needed,
Yeah, I had all those
Truth.
videos back in the day.
Yeah, we would see again. That's the truth, Barry. That's the truth. There's a difference between the truth and a fabrication.
Yeah. So that so the last incarnation of Rainbow is kind of a bit of a forgery, a fabrication, do you think?
Where's the album? Where's the songs? Where's
Yeah.
the touring? Where's the sweat, blood, and tears of it? Is it real?
Well, I've one more question for you, really. I was going to ask you, it kind of taps into what we've been talking about. Gene Simmons says rock is dead. To what extent would you agree with him?
If rock is dead, then why is he still on tour? Forever.
Maybe nobody told him.
The forever farewell tour. So I don't know where rock is dead because it's certainly paying off. I don't think rock is dead. I don't think it was ever dead. I think that it's changed, it's evolved, and I think it's gone cyclical actually in a way. I mean, there was, you come out of the grunge period, and you came out of alternative and punk, and now it's just everything. It's like such a meld of different styles and genres. Even Belly of the Beast is a combination between industrial metal and hard rock, and a lot of hard rock.
Yeah.
Melody and choruses, but yet with a platform of industrial metal sounds, and things like. So I mean, it's evolving. I don't think it's dead. I think it's evolving, and in most cases, anyway. I mean, there are still people out there who are trying to recapture something that was once that shall never be again. So you've just got to keep moving on. But no, it's by no means dead. No means.
Well, Purple and Rainbow, they were such a majestic bands. There was a virtuosity to them.
Yes.
Did you view Kiss back in the day as being a bit clownish, or how did you view Kiss back in the day?
Well, I mean, they're musicians, and Paul's had good voice and things like that. But they're the costume type of band. There's two different kinds. You can still be a great band and wear costume. But at the same time, they became sort of cartoon hero figures, merchandising, things like that.
Yeah.
I don't begrudge anybody for that. And then you've got David Bowie, for example, rest his soul, or the Rolling Stones, who are still kicking, who can come out in a pair of jeans and a T-shirt, and kick your ass. So, I guess to each his own. I don't have a disregard for them or anything. It's not the kind of music that I listen to because I wasn't getting anything from it. I need to get something. I need to steal something from somebody who's, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I like to hear somebody who goes, I like that. That is great. I'm not jealous of it. I'm envious to say he's got something. He's got an original sound, And I suppose Kiss is original in its own right.
Yeah.
They do great business. So who am I to say?
They do.
I just like bands like what Free, and Paul Rogers as a singer, this type of stuff, the real earthy stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Joe, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I hope you sell loads more copies of this Belly of the Beast album. I will put an it's not pre-order, it's out already. I'll put an ordering link just below this video. And what time is it where you are at the moment?
Like 10 o'clock.
Well, in the morning or
evening? No, at night, like you. I'm in Eastern Europe.
Okay.
Right now, I'm visiting some family over here, my wife's family and stuff like that. So for the holidays, so we're still here. But absolutely, it was wonderful talking to you. Great questions. I really appreciate it. And thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. You enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you very much.
All the best to you and family. Thanks, Barry.
Okay, bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye-bye.